Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the 7th episode of Refactoring an Android app with our friend Rakesh. How are you doing, Rakesh?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Doing just fine. This episode is a feedback episode from the audience, from you guys. We're going to talk about stuff related to the series. First off, I think Rakesh has something to say about the purpose of these videos, depending on what we've been hearing from you guys as far as requests go, what you'd like to see, what you'd not like to see. So it's better if we clarify what the purpose of these videos are, because we cannot tend to everybody's needs naturally. So there has to be a general direction where this is going, and you either request something smaller or you find it that it's not very suitable, but we hope that we can tend to as much needs as possible. So without further ado, you can go ahead, Rakesh, and say your viewpoint on this.
Yeah, thanks. I think the important thing to remember is that neither of us are professional trainers or anything like that, and we're pretty much making this up as we go along. And I think the reason was we started doing this was just to really, for developers to talk about stuff, especially developers who don't have other developers to talk to that often, and to just go over things and discuss things and whatever. So to me anyway, I mean, you could say what you think, but to me, these videos aren't about the application snippet, you know, and also they're not tutorials like the ones you would see. Like if you were to Google MVP, for example, all these videos would come up, and then you would see some guy doing it. I mean, I know we've done it, but we've taken our time doing it, and we stopped to chat about this, that, and design patterns and all this sort of stuff. And I think that's the important part of the videos to me. Isn't the destination, we got this feature done. It's about the journey to get to that destination. What sort of problems did we encounter, and especially what sort of decisions did we make? Why did we make this decision over that decision? Because there's plenty of code out there and it all works, and you can see it. But, and I think some people in the comments said this, they want to know how a developer thinks. And that to me is really what we're doing, because we do so many tangents, right? In the last video, we talked about code coverage, didn't we? Do you remember?
Yeah.
So to me, it's really about that process. Yeah, it's about the journey rather than the destination. And having said that, if some people want to know the nitty gritty about certain things, they can ask the question on the forum, on the YouTube channel, and that's fine. But just be aware that we're not holding your hand and showing you how to do a specific thing. What we're doing is we're basically getting together and discussing code, discussing stuff. I mean, in the last one, we didn't actually write that much code in the end, did we?
Yeah, that's true.
Very little. But we spent a lot of time talking about stuff that's important. And, I'm used to working in teams. I'm used to working in, professional commercial environments a lot. And they have a certain way of doing things. And, a lot of people like yourself, you work by yourself a lot of the time, don't you? So, you might not know how they do it. You might actually think it's a magic art or something, but, I can tell you how it works, and, I'm hoping one of the videos, for example, we'll get to CI as well, and we can get the building blocks of that in place.
Continuous integration?
Yeah, let's do some continuous integration.
Since we have tests now, yeah.
Exactly. So, we can go through that and just give confidence to people out there about, how we do it every day.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention is that the channel right now is in a process of getting a facelift. What that means is that I've actually hired a designer, and she's going over the channel purpose, and she's asking me questions about where do you want to go with this, all that kind of stuff. So the underlining theme, as it turns out, in my head is to just break the barrier between the stuff that we think is up on a pedestal, like we say, oh, it's impossible to continuous integration. I can never get into that. Like, it's too huge. I don't know how teams do it. And then you just bridge the barrier that you can even do it yourself. It's not something scary. It's just like I've been doing in all those videos. Of course, I'm going to be called out on, for example, someone says, what are you trying to do? This is not how you do things. This is not. But this is a scenario from the real world where someone would with no idea about a topic would approach it. This is how they would approach it. Just try to read about it, try to see if they can get. There is no room for purists, you know what I mean? Because there is no such thing as a purist when it comes to programming. You just have to fumble around until you fake it until you make it, basically. And
Well, that's what tends to happen a lot, right?
yeah.
You're right. And I'm hoping that if we do anything wrong, people will just say, we don't agree with this or we don't agree with that,
Yeah.
and that's a discussion as well, right? And that's what we're trying to do here,
So as that facelift is happening, actually the channel is going to be called Dry Code now, because dry culture used to apply to the kind of videos I used to make, which I do not make anymore, which revolve around my opinion of certain things in our culture, society, people. It turns out that people don't care to hear about that, nor do I care to say it anymore because I don't have the need for that. I used to. Now the channel is sort of the purpose is crystallizing more, especially with Rakesh joining, and now I find what the real purpose should have been from the beginning, but you can't figure it out from the beginning. Every time you have to try. That's about the facelift. Let's talk about snippet and access to snippets code. So you asked for code and you want to see the code that goes along with the videos. The app is not open source, okay, but we've figured out a way to mitigate that. If you're really interested in finding out what the code is, hit me up on an email I'll put in the video link, video description below, and I can add you to the repository on Bitbucket. You just have to have a Bitbucket account. Email me, tell me that you're interested. I'll add you with write access. You can create pull requests, you can read the code, do whatever you want, and we will look over your code. Maybe Rakesh will see if it fits, if it doesn't fit, all that kind of thing. I don't really have any reservations towards that, but I cannot open source it. So I'll just give access to the people who are actually genuinely interested, because if I do open source it, there's a big chance that someone gets that code, puts some ads in, releases it under a different name or a same name, and all my work goes to nothing. And I don't want that to happen. So I think this solution is much better. Hit me up, I'll leave an email in the video link description, and you can have access. More than welcome. What else is there? The comments, the questions of the users?
So I really would like our viewers to feel free to ask questions. And what we can do is we can do one of these sort of episodes every so often, and we can go over those questions. And they could be directly related to the application and stuff that we're doing, or they could be, anything. Just ask. It doesn't matter, Ask about testing in general if you like. Ask about design patterns. Anything you want to ask it. I mean, we'll do our best to answer everything that we can. We might not be able to answer everything, but we'll try. And just see this as an opportunity to, have a conversation with us. And we can do some feedback. I mean, I've got one right now. We had one on the last video from Ryan. And Ryan was asking a question, which is to do with snippet. And if we have a look here, he asks, a little off topic for this video, but say in your test class you wanted to load books by a certain title. Would load books title pass in the title like so? I don't think it should be in the test class. I think what he's trying to say here, though, is, to me, Ryan, this sounds very much like a search functionality that you want in the app. So it probably would. So looking at our app,
why
what I would
wouldn't it be in
probably
the
do,
test class?
because that test, our test here, is this presenter, right? And its test is tied up to the specific view that we currently have, which is the list of current books that you've saved, correct?
Oh.
Now, if you wanted to do a search for books
that
by
would be
title,
another view.
So maybe at the top of the app, there would be, let me show it to you. So maybe what it would be is maybe at the top of the app, there might be the search icon, right?
There is one of those in
the
snippets, not in the books.
Right. Really? What do you mean?
Yeah, if you add more than one snippet.
If we had,
yeah, you can search those.
Yeah. So when you go to search, you probably find that you need a way of searching the books by title. So then what you would do is that probably here in the books repository, you would probably have something like,
Get books by
I
title.
suppose we can do something. Well, we're all observable now, aren't we?
Sure, but
So we do something like that.
why are you saying observable, not single again?
Because we don't know how many we're going to get back. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. It could still be a list, right?
Still could be a list.
Yeah. Oh, in that case, yeah. You're right. So we can just do the
Guys,
same
I
thing
want you
again.
to just timestamp this minute where I was right about something and he changed the code. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
So we could do something like this, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
But the point being, though, is that this method is about checking for books in a different way to the earlier way, but it's all in the books repository because this is how you go and find out about books in the books repository.
That's true.
But the chances of it being called by the same presenter are going to be low, right? It's probably going to be another view, maybe off the menu,
That's fine.
with its presenter that's going to be calling this
And
method.
that's where
So
but
I don't.
but
I mean,
this is gonna be calling the stuff that we tested in another presenter.
this stuff is going to be calling. We haven't written this stuff, so I'm not sure
When
what you
you
mean. What
write
do you mean?
it, right? You're
Yeah.
gonna say load
Yeah.
books, another load books. Yeah, it's just the fact that it has a title with it, that means it's another test. You cannot rely on the test you did for loading the books manually without a title.
Well, we never did a test, did we? We never did a test for the repository. We never did a test for this class.
No, we're saying
But you
that.
can imagine.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
For this method.
No, I didn't. I didn't test what this method does. I mocked
You
what it
mocked.
returns to test the presenter.
Yeah.
And
You're
I
not
was
gonna
testing the
test. Yeah,
presenter.
that's true. You're not gonna test whether it's actually going to the database and.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is that here is a good place to put methods like get books by title, for example, or get books by author. You'd put the method in here.
Yeah.
Then wherever whichever presenter is going to be calling that method, that's where you would test calling the method, right?
Okay.
I just was thinking
That's
it's probably
that's where you would mock what
be-
it returns, not test the method.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Now about that, somebody has asked about when are we going to be testing the repository, but like I said, I don't see much value in doing this.
We're not gonna do that.
Yeah. And it either works or it doesn't, right? So it's low. And somebody else asked, are we going to be I think actually it was Ryan again. He asked about, are we going to be testing any network calls? You talked to S3, right?
Yeah, but that's deep inside the app. That's where you have, you see, there's this sharing functionality of the book. What I've done is that I've created a web console where you can see all your books and their snippets online. So that thing is waiting for a request from my app. And what I do is I get the book, I make a JSON out of the information of the book, I send off the snippets to S3, I get back a link to the images, I put that in the JSON request, and then I send it off to the web console. Over there, receives it, shows you the books. So it's pretty deep into the app. We can tackle it, but
yeah, I think if we can get an opportunity,
you can see it inside the books activity if you want to see the code.
I was going to have a quick look. Yeah, books activity.
It's pretty mumbled, jumbled, way below.
Yeah, well, maybe that's something we could tackle as well at some point.
What about this huge adapter? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, well, first thing would be to let's take it out of this class, right?
Yeah.
And put it into its own class, so then we're not doing too much up and down. Yeah. Amazon S3 client.
So there's the client, and my keys are in the constants file. So yeah,
Yeah.
about that, I have no idea to this day where you store things securely
You
on
don't
Android.
store them in your app.
Yeah, so I have to make a
Especially if you
request
open
to get
source
them.
it. No. You can store them in their app, but you don't. Especially if you're going to allow people access to Bitbucket, you don't want it. You don't want them to be able to get hold of it.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be storing it in your local Gradle.properties file, and then at
Gradle.properties
runtime.
file. Okay.
Yeah.
So that doesn't get bundled into the APK when you send it. If someone were to decompile it, how is that secure?
Well, they can decompile it, so this isn't great. We'll have to. Well, maybe people out there can tell us what they're doing,
That
because
would be
I
great.
haven't
Yeah,
actually written
I have no idea where to
AWS
store
code
things like
from it.
that.
Yeah, all I can tell you is that development time, you don't want to put it, especially if you're open sourcing the code, you don't want to put it in the code.
Okay.
So yeah, so
So
yeah,
this.
somebody out there can tell us what we should do. All I
Yeah.
was going to say is, in here you've got a Gradle.properties file here inside the app. Well, if you have a Gradle.properties file inside your home directory, where your home directory is, yeah,
My home
then
directory.
values in there are not in source control, right?
If you ignore them, yeah. Okay.
No, what I mean is, this is my home directory on my computer.
Oh
No, this
no.
is the.
Yeah, they're not gonna be in source control. No.
Yeah, because it's in your home directory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can and those settings will override other settings it comes across later, like the ones in Gradle.properties. So that's somewhere where you can put it if you open source the app, if you allow other people to see your app code, right?
Okay.
But the bigger question about decompiling it and all that sort of stuff, well, not sure. Maybe somebody can tell us.
Okay. So that's the code
Anyway,
for Amazon. Yeah. We can work on
okay.
that. But when the time comes, I mean, I think 2 episodes down the line, because we're still in. There still needs work. This activity specifically, because this one is the big one. It's gonna pave the way
Sure.
for others.
Yeah, and what you will see is that the idea of the UI makes a request, talks to a presenter talks to something that a model or whatever you want to call it that goes and gets data from somewhere and then returns it. It's what we do better, but that's the bread and butter mostly of mobile development, right?
Yeah.
So we'll probably do it a few times, won't we? So then hopefully that'll be an opportunity for us to discuss various techniques and stuff like that and be really useful for people, because it's what we do a lot of.
Okay. So what else do we have on the list? The network call. We're gonna make the not the network call. We're gonna take off the call of the database
So
off the
that's the
main
next
thread
video, right?
in the next episode. Yeah. So I
So in the
think
next video, yeah,
that's about it
we
for
need
this
to.
one.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, next video coming very soon. See you there, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.